everybody, and God bless. So I want to start this off by reading 1 Corinthians 3:2, and it says, I have fed you with milk and not with meat. For hitherto ye were not able to bear it, neither yet now are ye able to. And I basically just want to talk about, because a long time ago somebody had asked, why did Jesus choose the 3 out of the 12? And I think they were asking for those like exact people, like why did he choose them? But the way my brain works, I was thinking, why did he choose 3 out of the 12 in general? Right now, I think what it just means is that those 3 were able to receive things like that. They were able to look and see Jesus being transfigured, and they were trusted with that information because Jesus said, do not tell anybody until I die. So that's pretty much all I want to talk about, is how there are sometimes some people cannot receive everything. Sometimes you are led to have a closer group and not let the whole entire world in, because other people are just not willing or not able to receive that level yet. There are different levels of God. I mean, think about yourself when you first got saved, and think about the stuff that you know now, like about the shift change and things like that. Would you have received that before you even like received Jesus into your heart? People who are still trying to get right with God should not be taught things that or like people who are still trying to get right with God should not be in a group of people who are at a higher level. And I was talking to my friend, I have a best friend, and I was talking to him a couple of days ago, and I was talking about my daughter. So if you are a parent, you probably already know this, or even if you raise children, a daycare provider, whatever, you've been around kids, you know this. When a child is first born, all they can have is milk. All they have is milk, and it could be like breast milk, baby formula, whatever. Then when they get a little bit older, they can have actual like cow milk and stuff like that, depending on if they're lactose intolerant or whatever. Either way, it's still just milk, okay? Now, as they get a little bit older, you can start introducing solids. Solids can be in a pureed form, or it can be a straight up solid, depending on if that child can handle that or not. Or I think it's like pretty much just the parent, because even if they don't have teeth, their gums are very hard, so they can still chew on solids. So I think it just depends on the parent, mainly because I just wasn't comfortable giving her solids, but I knew that she could have them. I just wasn't comfortable. But my point is, that's like the milk meat level, okay? A lot of people don't know this, but the truth is, before a child is 1 year old, they cannot have honey. I cannot remember exactly, like scientifically, like what all the issues were, because like she's 3 years old now, and there's no point in me like memorizing that right now. But I just know from all my research, a child under the age of 1 cannot have honey. I believe it can make them very, very sick. It can cause tons of issues. So to be on the safe side, I was like, I'm just not going to give her honey. Because I did hear some people say, well, if they grew up in another like culture and people didn't know that, they probably did give them honey, but it's still Russian roulette. Like, I'm not going to risk that, right? So it's the same thing with the levels of God. For me, honey is good. Honey tastes good. I could say, oh, well, let me give this to my baby. You know, it's fine because it's good to me, but it's not good to that child. And that just brings me to like, if somebody is trying to get right with God, this is why it's so crucial that you are led by God when it comes to ministering. But when somebody is trying to be right with God, they need to understand the basics first. So you want to help them, give them a Bible, do some one-on-one studies, help them to get right with God first. And then you can introduce all those high-level things like the shift change and things like that. And it's crazy because I was talking to a friend of mine about this today, about the dream that I had about me being graduated and coming back to work. So in that dream, I talked about the high school I was at, and I said in the dream, I said, I've been through this high school. I know what I'm doing. You know, I can, you know, I'm good. And then I noticed things were changed. And I was telling my friend, and that is why it's so crucial when we minister, that yes, don't forget what you came out of. But at the same time, don't be cocky. Don't say, well, this helped me, so it's going to help that person. You have to be led by God. And I believe that that's what that part of the dream was talking about. And I didn't really bring it up, which is great that it got brought up in this video. I was thinking about making a separate video. But That's why it's so crucial that we are led by God on what to do and what to say. Just because it worked for one person doesn't mean it's going to work for the other person. You have no idea what levels of God they are on. You have no idea what amount of understanding, knowledge, wisdom they may have. So that's why it's so crucial that we're led by God, and we don't ever say, well, this worked for me, so it's going to work for them, or this worked for that person, so it's going to work for them. It's, I'm going to follow God and be led by God, because only God knows their heart. Okay? So, and then also, when it comes to, making sure that we are careful with introducing people into things that are too high level for them, it comes down to also putting your foot down. Like, this is not going to work. This is not going to help. What's going to help is getting you through these lower level things. Okay? And not being a people pleaser because, you may be friends with somebody and they're just like, I want to know. But you seek God and God's like, don't do it. You need to obey God before you obey that person. All right? So I hope that all makes sense. God bless you. Have a nice one.